Shall we play a game?
Hello everyone and welcome back to Vintage Gaming Memories. This is the second of the series called Flashback 40 with Antics and Analogs. Now if you saw the first video in this series, I was kind of still playing around with the name. I wasn't quite sure what to call it, but I think this rolls off the tongue a bit nicer. So what will Flashback 40 with Antics and Analogs be about? Well, every month around this time of the month, I will open up my Antic and Analog magazines going back to 40 years ago to the month, or at least the issue month on the magazine. And then from there, I'll page through and pull out details that seem interesting along the way. Now, I won't comment on everything in the issues, so just the highlights, and then I'll type a program or two along the way. In this second video of the series, we are looking at Antic Volume 2, number 8 from November 1983, and then Analog number 14 from November 1983. So let's start with the Antic magazine. And just by looking at it, you can see it's got a nice artsy type of cover on here. This character here has the Atari colors all over and throughout. It has that Fuji symbol right there on its, I guess, shoes. And also on the cuffs, it's got a Fuji symbol there. Let's see what else. It has a, well, it's got some form of a Atari XL type computer as a synthesizer, and then they got the musical instruments. So basically, this looks like a sound and music issue, which it pretty much will be. All right, let's dive right into the Antic here and see what we can talk about. And I could have sworn pretty much in the beginning there was maybe one or two things I thought I wanted to bring out to your attention. Oh, here it is. It's in the I/O board, language talk. So a reader asked about asked the editor, tell me what types programming languages are available for the Atari 800. So the only thing about that I thought was interesting is the 800. Well, this is 1983, November specifically. And you have to kind of consider that just earlier in that year, the 1200 XL came out, and then the 600 and 800 XLs came out a few months before this issue. So everything's pretty much focused on the Atari 800. So just a little thing I thought that was interesting. You don't hear much about the XLs yet. And then, oh, and here's a good one. So this advertisement I thought was pretty interesting. It's the Rana 1000, it says the advertisement, we just made owning an Atari computer a lot more logical. Well, I think it's just more coincidental because look what I got here. It's Rana Systems. It's the shipping box. This is about 40 years old. And what's inside? Yes, it's a Rana 1000. Pretty cool. I will do a video on this shortly, but I just thought I want to show you that, give you a little teaser. I'm excited to see how that one looks. But getting back to the Antic, though. So here in the I/O board, I just love reading these write-ins from readers. These two caught my eye. This drive tip right over here. Basically, the tip is to add a comment line or a rem for remark in the beginning so that you don't forget the file name you're working on. Also, this reader mentions to save after entering so many lines of code, but with autosave and versioning today, we often take that for granted. Now, the other write-in was from a Gerald Madden from Bayville, New Jersey. He asked, how does one start a bulletin board system, otherwise known as the BBS? I like that the editor gave a high-level response to the hardware side, but kind of left out the software, which is pretty important. What he did was reference two BBSs for Gerald to call and ask them for help. I'm tempted maybe I should call one of the numbers and see if a carrier picks up or if someone answers the call. Then I can ask them if the board is up, but I'm sure they won't get that joke. Joking aside, if you like this video or others on the channel, please move that mouse to the right and click to subscribe. That's all I ask to help me grow this channel, and I really do appreciate every one of you that watches these videos. All right, let's keep going and see what else we can find. Oh, here we go. Inside Atari Service System. So this is a pretty good article. I read it through, and just to summarize it, basically it's about how great Atari positioned itself to support their customers, whether it was on the phone or in person. It did state here that more than 90% of Atari owners will find a place no further than 15 miles away. That's pretty amazing. I don't know if that was exaggeration or not, but that's what it said. And then for customer support on the phone side, they had 70 customer support employees, 25 agents, 15 product specialists. Now that group responded to more than 600,000 calls and 250,000 mail inquiries a year. Pretty amazing back then, considering, it's not everyone had an Atari and computers were pretty expensive. Now here's the best part of the article. At that time, Atari had the most extensive service organization in the industry. John Ebbs, VP of Consumer Product Service for Atari, he said, quote, Commodore has virtually no customer support. Apple owners must go to Apple dealers. TRS machines have to be repaired in one of about 300 Radio Shacks. TIs, I think you have to take to Texas. No one else provides toll-free phone advice. We've got 36 incoming lines for our toll-free numbers. Why the phone bill for that alone was $1.5 million last year. End quote. So basically, Atari pretty much knew that their customer satisfaction was the key to success, and they did it pretty well back then. Now, it was even noted in the article that the agents were continuously trained to answer questions about many Atari products, and their average call lasts about 3 minutes, and the average wait time for an agent was, get this, only 1 minute. Unheard of these days for any place you call for customer support or service. Well, let's keep going through here and see what else we've got. Soundemo. All right, well, here we go. So this is the first program in this issue that is tied to the theme of sound and music. This is called Soundemo. One word and one D in that name. So after reading a little bit about what this program does, looks like there are 9 preset sound effects in this program, and it also has 2 blank ones that you can set your own sounds to. This looks pretty manageable for me to quickly type. So let me just get this put in really quick, and we can see how it sounds. Last line, done. No errors, but let's run. Fingers crossed. Nice. Okay, let's go down the line, I guess. Choose one. We'll do A first. That was super long. B, engine room. All right. C, space machine gun. Use the joystick button, press start to quit. Oh. Pretty cool. You can hold the button down, it keeps playing. Start to quit. D, diesel horn. Same thing. Pretty cool. E, laser gun. Same concept. F, bombs away. That was nice. G, race car. Kind of annoying. H, Canon. That's pretty cool. I, Thinking Computer. And J and K is the two that you can add your own in there, just adding your sound variables, and L to N. That was pretty cool. So that was Soundemo, not a bad demonstration of the Atari sounds, and very clean, short program to put in. Hope you enjoyed that. All right, let's keep going. And I think we have another sound one. Yes, we do. Here we go. So, random music. Can Atari make a melody? So here's another article and program around the sound topic. This one was written by Charles Jackson, who was a recent UCLA grad. And it mentions how Atari generates sound by using the basic command sound A, B, C, D. A, B, C, D basically are the variables. A is where you define the channel between 0 and 3. B is the pitch from 0 to 255. C is the tone quality. And D is the volume, where 10 is pretty typical. Basically, this program uses the R&D or random function to randomly select the variables with the sound command. And it looks like it's specifically with the pitch variable. But anyhow, let me type this one in and see, or should I say hear what it does. Okay, that is it. And here we go. It is not anything of race, the white and the brown for the type of music. It is the noise in the spectrum of colors. So want to get that clearly stated. So go with white music first. All right, well then you just run it again, and we'll do brown. And we'll go with number 3. Okay, well that is it for random music, and it was very random. But one thing here you can always do with these programs, like this one for example, you've got 3 sets of data lines, and you can change the values in there to experiment with what tones you get. Obviously these were preset to have the tones for those types of sounds that come out, but that's something always fun to play with, and you can learn from that. But anyways, hope you enjoy that, and that ends random music. Okay, what else do we have in here? This is pretty interesting as well. Everything's interesting in these magazines when you go back 40 years. But I found this advertising interesting. So how many of you actually remember CompuClub? I sure don't. But it says the membership is only $5 a year, but you must agree to buy 3 programs during your year of membership. So what's the catch? Well, the perk is that the programs they're offering you are at a low price. Actually, in bold, they're saying that the prices are always at least 25% below retail. And then if they have a sale, it's at least 50% from the list price. Pretty impressive. Now, I got my hands on a CompuClub catalog from 1983, and I went through that looking, and I found Miner 2049er, which is a game I like. And it had a list price of $49.95, which sounds about right back then. But as a CompuClub member, it's yours for only $37.46. I mean, overall, it comes out as a good deal per item, but you have to pay a good chunk of change in total. Anyways, moving on. Let's go further through and see what else we can find here. Air Raid 2000. Now, I totally remember this game and actually typing it in. I guess I'd have to have been probably 12 years old, 11 or 12. This was a game that was created by Eric Woolpaul. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. He was a 16-year-old from Cleveland Heights High School, which I assume is probably in Ohio from being the name Cleveland. Anyways, this is a cool game from what I remember, and looking at the little image that they have here to show you. It says that this was his first published game. Well, you know what? Let's just type this one in and flashback 40 years ago and see how it goes. All right, here we go. I know, right off the bat, I'm sure people are going to be asking, or maybe some will say, hey, why is he typing in red lines? They don't do anything. They're comment lines. Yep, I know. But I just want to give credit where credit's due, and I type fast enough that I think I could afford a few more keystrokes just to give out some names here. All right. That was the last line, and here is the test. Fingers crossed, hopefully no errors. I know it did say it's going to be a black screen for a couple seconds, but hopefully this is still working. Well, oh, cool. So it just does take a little bit of time to get it to show. Let's try the fire button. Let's get this party started. Yeah, all right. Well, oh, cool. So that's my area I'm working in, that little white spot. I see water to the left, some radar, buildings there, and I see a person. You know what? It looks like that game Protector a little bit, or even Choplifter. Okay, I can drop bombs. I guess I do remember this game. So I don't want to kill my guy, but I do want to get some spacing so I can get down there and pick him up. Okay. And whoa! Alright, so that guy's shooting at me. That's a missile. Oops, gotta get that. Okay, and you notice the background changes color as fuel drops. So in other words, it kind of emulates daylight to night, which is cool. I don't know about you, but I am getting dizzy. And I think that's just how it is. The game does have a nice scrolling effect, but you can really get, oops, busy. What if it gets pitch black? Another guy. Oh, it's getting darker. My fuel's down. You know what? Oh man, so am I. Whew. It starts right back up. So I have 3 rescued. Let me stay up higher. So those guys. I get points for knocking out these buildings too. How many people am I supposed to rescue? It really is all about timing. Okay, I see I'm at the end. All right, cool. I got everyone rescued. I guess there's 4 of them. Let me just clear out some runway before my fuel goes. Don't remember how much runway I need. All right. Oh, wow. Okay. Now we got a challenge. Okay, the bar's raised a little bit, so I can't drop bombs much lower. And it's the same, looks so far like the same layout. I see my person to rescue. Oops, I'll be careful here. Yep, there's the missile shooting at me. Whoa, I almost hit my guy. Wow, crashed. Went down too hard. But pretty cool game. What do you guys think? I mean, it is a public domain game. Pretty nice concept. Graphics are decent, very decent. I mean, it moves really nice too, going left and right. I do like it when you get shot down, the whole screen shakes. If you're subjected to seizures, you probably shouldn't play this game because I'm telling you, it shakes a lot. My eyes, I'm blinking quite a bit. But yeah, I don't know. Tell me what you guys think. I like it that you do have some challenges here, and it does change the scenario or the scenery a little bit. I wonder what the third one would be. If it would be even like, what more challenges could you get? Would be pitch black. But anyways, I will probably give this a try a little bit later off camera. Again, Air Raid 2000, public domain game. All right, let's continue onward. I missed something. I thought there was something else. So here we go. So here we see Best of Antic, Volume 1. Now it says it's covering its most popular programs and articles from issues 1 through 6 of its first year of publishing. Now I actually have that magazine that they're referencing here. And here it is. I know it's in plastic, it's protective, it's a magazine cover. I always have them like that, so it keeps it in its pristine condition. And you can just see though how thick this thing is. It's 275 pages. I hope to cover this in a series sometime in the future though. So getting back to the Antic magazine here that we're looking at. I think we're coming to, yep, one of my favorite sections of the magazine called Kids Corner. So in last month's Flashback 40 with Antics and ANALOG, I typed in a ski game, that's ski, S-K-I, that was created by a 12-year-old named Andrei Persitsky. Even better was that Andrei actually checked it out and put a comment in that video. And if you haven't seen it yet, take a look by clicking right above here, and you can get to that video and check it out. So this month we are looking at a childhood game that we all know called Tag. This is a two-player game that was created by 14-year-old Greg Burdett from Utah. So let's just jump right in and see how this looks. Okay, we'll give it a run. Okay, player one is it. Player one's on the left, so that's this one. He needs to catch that one. So, it's cool. You can go diagonal, you can cross. So, let's see if I can catch him real quick, which is not hard since I'm playing by myself here. And here we go. So this does have some resemblance of the Snake game, but again, this was 40 years ago this was created. So this was definitely before that. And the concept of this one isn't really to cross the path. It's actually to get the lead dot, which is why it's called Tag. So I think this is a pretty cool game. I can find this entertaining, and you have to remember it's a public domain game created 40 years ago by a 14-year-old, Greg Burdett. Thumbs up, kudos to him for this creation. And I will have to give this a try with my 11-year-old to see what he thinks, but I'm sure he'll like it. Hope you enjoyed it as well. And as we continue onward, what else do we have to look at? I know there's a couple more things. So in the product reviews section here, there's a game that they mention is Pinhead by Utopia Software. Now I remember this very well. It's a game that I liked. It's like a circus type game. It has great color. The concept was pretty cool. It's, you know, you got to get these balloons and pop them, and then you can kick the balloons if you don't get them on top of your head, if you're stacking them, because I think there's different levels, that different objectives. But anyways, I do happen to have it here, so let me just give you a quick show of what this game is like. This is Pinhead by Utopia Software. There it is, nice and colorful balloons. And let's just start. So there I am on the unicycle. My objective is to pop these balloons, which is not as easy, but you can also kick them if they come past your head, like that with my feet. And I probably will be showing you that in a second. Like that. And like that. Okay. Now I think there was even a Pac-Man intermission after one of these levels. I hope it's this one. This one, you just stack them, and then you need to pop them all once you get them all to a certain number. And you can see kicking. Kicking is very important because it's hard to stack. I timed that. I don't know. Almost there. I've got 3 more lives, or 2 more lives now. Yeah, there's the Pac-Man intermission. Pretty cool. Oh man. And that was the bonus one, and I choked on it. But it's been a long time. Just want to give you a little glimpse of that game. I think it's a pretty cool game. I mean, I'm sure I'll be playing this after I finish this video. So that was Pinhead by Utopia Software. Hope you enjoyed it. Okay, and last but not least, this one here. This caught my eye, and I think it's definitely worth showing. It is an advertisement for the game Getaway by APX, the Atari Program Exchange. So do any of you remember this game just by looking at the maze? I mean, obviously this is a nice cheat sheet here because you don't see this full maze when you're playing a game. But let me give a good show of this. I have the ATR for it, and I can load it really quickly and give you a little demo. Let's take a look. So here I am in my car. That's my home base. Let me just give you a quick run through on this. Pretty cool bridges, water, river, lakes, you'll see. And there's G for gas, and you can see on the bottom there my gas is at 96 and dropping 95. If I stop in here, it gets back up to 100 or 99. So I'm looking for some of the money. There's some money there in the neighborhood. And as I have this cash on hand, I have to drop it off at my home base, so I really don't want to get caught with it or else I lose it. But I'm going to keep gathering as much as I can before I go back to the home base. Let me show you some of the other waterways here. Pretty neat looking. There's some sailboats, trees, there's more money. Parking a lot of cars. What is that, a government building perhaps? And where's the police? I see the police in the, let's see, cars down below. There they are. Let's see if it's, you can hear it chasing after me. So, get some more gas. Yeah. Here's my home base. Oh, so close. But anyways, that's the concept of this game. I'm not quite sure how far I got into this game back in the day, but this is just a little glimpse of it. I just thought I'd show you. So this is Getaway by APX. Now let's go to the Analog magazine from November 1983. Antics theme was sound and music, and it looks like Analog is all about tools and utilities this month. So let's jump right in. So in this issue, they noted in the editorial section that they were going to do a price change. So they were currently at $2.50 an issue, and they were going to move it to $3 an issue. But most importantly, they announced that this will be a monthly issue starting in January 1984. So Analog was bi-monthly when it first started in 1981, but after 2 years, it appears the frequency needed to change. That changed the price to $3, which was going to start in the beginning of 1984, January specifically. Antic magazine was at $2.50 an issue, and they also changed to $3 in February. So it was all on par with the other competition. Anyways, as we continue looking on here, so this advertisement caught my eye, and let me just explain why. I did a video a few months ago in August on a utility called Magic Dump 2, mainly because it had to be inserted in the right cartridge slot of the Atari 800, which made it unique. And that video is right here on the top right if you want to check it out. Now, there are a handful of these right cartridge slot software you can find, but they're not easily found. But Monkey Wrench 2 is one of those. And coincidentally, about 3 hours ago, I picked up an excellent condition Monkey Wrench 2 cartridge with instructions for $65 on eBay. And then I was just doing this video and I saw this ad that in 1983, 40 years ago, it was listed for $59.95. So I paid $5 more 40 years later. So I think I probably overpaid if this was 40 years ago, but I think I got a good deal on it today. All right, let's continue. Oh, here's a utility program that we would laugh today or probably even 20 years ago. It's called conversions. So basically, as I looked at the code here and read a little bit about it, it just converts feet to meters, all types of measurements. There's liters to quarts, square feet to acres, and so on. And there's about 30 different types of conversions you can do on this program once you type it in and run it. And today we can simply just ask Alexa for that answer or just search on the internet via the PC or just use your smartphone. But 40 years ago, this would have been pretty cool just to have a program you can put information and spew out the answer. So here we go. Finally, I got to the first public domain game in this issue, and it is called Retrofire. Now the premise is that you need to land your escape capsule that you are in and land it on the moon's surface, it says. But the moon that you're trying to land on is not the moon by Earth, it's the one by Jupiter. So you have to avoid radiation and volcanoes that are on the surface. And looking at this, there is a lot of code to type. So through the magic of video pausing, I won't waste your time. Let me just pause and get this thing in and we'll take a look at it. Check out that line. I mean, there's a lot of statements in there, and it's all in one line, which is defined or separated by the colon. Just wanted to call that out. These programs are really difficult to type in when you look at a magazine, and the print isn't clear, but there are some positive things about it because in the magazine, it's lined up perfectly as you see on the screen, so at least that's a little bit of a check. For example, line 20, you see the third line where it has the E starting there for part of the word restore. That's exactly how it looks like in the magazine. So at least I know I'm lined up. Let's fast forward this and get to the game. All right, Retrofire. Okay, cool looking so far. I think what made this game really unique was the 3D aspect. But as I was reading the instructions after I typed this in, there is a lot to consider. So you see there to the right, your altitude showing is 20,000 feet. You have your XV, your YV, your ZV. The XYZ, that actually says here, the X velocity tells you how fast your ship is going up or down. The Y velocity tells how fast your ship is going to the right or to the left. And your Z velocity tells how fast your ship is going diagonally over the terrain grid. So you have to adjust all of those perfectly in order to land without crashing. And you have to worry about radiation as it builds up, as well as your fuel, which is at 10,000 right now. There's a lot to consider, but let's just try this and see how I fare. Okay. Cool sound. So my altitude is dropping pretty good. I want to get faster, but if I go faster, I'm using more fuel, I could tell. So I don't want to use up all my fuel to drop my altitude quickly. My velocity is at 249, 250. For that, I need to keep that down to like, I thought it said around 30 or something really low before I get too close to the terrain. So let me slow that down a little bit. There's a lot of math in this game. Or calculations, let's call it. And I think the velocity maxes out at 500, I thought I saw or read. Yeah, I'm at 500 there. My altitude is dropping close to under 10,000 right about now. My fuel is really going away. My radiation level is a little bit past halfway. Just a lot of stuff on this to look at. All right, different grid. I'm getting closer now. Let me slow my velocity going down. Let's get that to a more reasonable amount or speed. Let's don't use up all my fuel though. 500, 400. Radiation overload. So close. So there's a lot of things to consider in this game. I think it's kind of challenging where you have to coordinate the throttling of the velocity, whether it's the XYZ, as well as the location of where your ship's going, and then looking at the radiation effects based on that, as well as the fuel consumption as you use your thrusters. Just a lot of stuff going on. But again, it's 3D. 1983 this came out. Pretty impressive. And it's public domain in analog, so win-win. Hope you enjoy this. This game, again, is called Retrofire. Now, as I continued through this issue, it was very funny to see that they had the exact advertisements that were also in Antic. And I know, I get it, that these software companies, they want to make sure they target and cover all bases for Atari users, and the magazines actually themselves, they want these advertisements in there because they make money on advertising costs. But there's just a lot of these ads in this magazine. I think there's more in analog than Antic for sure. Now, here's a nice tool that could come in handy when you are struggling for memory. It's called mUse. So it stands for memory usage. So what it does, it scans your program that you have typed in or loaded, and it gives you an output of how many characters are in your REM statements, which would be taking up memory, and then the total number of statements in your program. It gives you that information, and the number of lines in your program, and anything and everything that's associated with memory usage. Now, is there a magic button to optimize that program once you get that information? Well, no. You just have to get this information and use it as a guide for you to navigate back in the code and make the necessary adjustments for optimization. Again, it's pretty nice to see this because how else would you know it? You could look through it and hunt and peck, but it's nice to get a summary of what your memory hog is being allocated to. So that's pretty much a wrap for this issue of Analog. There were a lot of utilities and tools referenced in the issue, but they were in the form of advertisements. At least that's what I thought, or I found. And I was hoping to find more programs to type in, but it was pretty scarce, at least programs that would be of use to show on this video. But what I will say is that I do know that the issues for Analog will get better in the months ahead. So until then, Antic Magazine will carry a lot of the weight for entertaining us. I hope you enjoyed this month's video of Flashback 40 with Antics and Analog from November 1983. Thank you again for getting to the end of this video. I do appreciate it. And let's keep that gaming passion from the past alive by living it today. Take care, everyone.